President Cory Aquino, 6 years of service from 1986 to 1991. Total amount of money used during her term, 1,077,895 trillion pesos. Filipino politician who served as the 11th President of the Philippines, the first woman to hold that office, and the first female president in Asia. Aquino was the most prominent figure of the 1986 People Power Revolution, which toppled the 20-year authoritarian rule of President Ferdinand Marcos and restored democracy to the Philippines. She was named Time Magazine's Woman of the Year in 1986. She is the first president without any political experience, as she had not held any other elective office. As President, Aquino oversaw the promulgation of the 1987 Constitution, which limited the powers of the presidency and re-established the bicameral Congress. Her administration gave strong emphasis and concern for civil liberties and human rights, and on peace talks to resolve the ongoing communist insurgency and Islamist secession movements. Her economic policies centered on restoring economic health and confidence and focused on creating a market-oriented and socially responsible economy. Aquino faced several coup attempts against her government and various natural calamities until the end of her term in 1992. Legacy: the first woman president of the Philippines. Currency: $1 is equal to 2761.61. Growth rate 1986 to 1991, 3.33%. Agrarian reform. Natural disasters and calamities. Electrical power, grid inadequacy. President Ramos, 6 years of service from 1992 to 1997. Total amount of money used during her term, 2,237,907 trillion. The presidency of Fidel V. Ramos spanned for 6 years from June 30, 1992 to June 30, 1998. At the time of his assumption into power, Fidel Ramos was the second oldest person following Sorios Mania to become president of the Philippines at the age of 64. He is also the first Protestant president of the country and the only Filipino officer in history to have held every rank in the Philippines military from second lieutenant to commander-in-chief. The first few years of his administration, 1992 to 1995, were characterized by economic boom, technological development, political stability, and efficient delivery of basic needs to the people. During his time, he advocated party platforms as outlined an agenda for governance. As in his case, he was the first Christian Democrat to be elected in the country. Being the founder of the KCMD, Christian Muslim Democrats Party, he was one of the most influential leaders and the unofficial spokesman of liberal democracy in Asia. The Philippine economy recovered dramatically during the years of 1993 between 1997. Ramos vigorously implemented a comprehensive social reform agenda that addressed the long-standing problem of poverty, jobs and livelihood, health, education and skills training, housing, environmental protection, children and the youth, the elderly and the handicapped, agrarian reform, and access to equal opportunity. The country's gross national product, or GNP, averaged 5% annually. Average income of the Filipino family grew larger during his administration than the preceding 2 decades. He pushed the deregulation of key industries and the liberalization of the economy. He encouraged the privatization of public entities, to include the modernization of public infrastructure through the expanded field operate transfer law. While communist insurgency dwindled to historic loss, he achieved a peace agreement with military rebels and the secessionist Moro National Liberation Front, for which he won for the Philippines the coveted 1997 UNESCO Peace Award. The first 4 Asians Fidel V. Ramos is known as the Centennial President, having planned and supervised the 100th anniversary of the country's declaration of independence from Spain on